Janaranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashodanandana Brajjana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajjana Ranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Jayom Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajacharya Astottara Satashri Srimad, His Divine Grace Srila Abhay Charanarvinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Garantaraj Shiman Bhagavatam Ki Jai, Gaur Premanande Hari Bol. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to the lotus feet of Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Cheva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jaya Mudirayat Nasta Prayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistuki. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. A reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, The Creation of the Fourth Order, Chapter 8, Dhruva Maharaj leaves home. We're reading text 44. Word for word. Pranayamena Srivrita Pranendriya Mano Malam Shanir Vyudasya Abhidyayen Manasha Guruna Gurum Pranayamena Trivrita Pranendriya Manomalam Shanir Vyudayasya Bhidyayen Manasha Guruna Gurum Pranayamena Trivrita Pranindriya Manomalam Shanedvidu Yashya Bidyayen Manasha Guruna Gurum Pranayamena Trivrita Pranindriya Manomalam Shanedvidu Yashya Bidyayen Manasha Guruna Gurum. Mataji's. Manomalam. Word for word translation. Pranayamena, by the breathing exercises. Trivrita, by the three recommended ways. Prana Indriya, the life air and the senses. Mana, mind. Malam, impurity. Shaner, gradually. Vyudashya, giving up. Abhidyayet, meditate upon. Manasha, the mind. Guruna, undisturbed. Gurum, the Supreme Spiritual Master Krishna. Translation. After sitting on your seat, practice the 3 kinds of breathing exercises and thus gradually control the life air, the mind, and the senses. Completely free yourself from all material contamination and with great patience begin to meditate on the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Please repeat. After sitting on your seat, the 3 kinds of breathing exercises. Practice the 3 kinds of breathing exercises and thus gradually control the life air, the mind, and the senses. Completely free yourself from all material contamination and with great patience begin to meditate on the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. In this verse, the entire yoga system is described in summary, and special stress is given to the breathing exercises for stopping the disturbing mind. The mind by nature is always oscillating, for it is very fickle, but the breathing exercises are meant to control it. This process of controlling the mind might have been very possible in those days, millions of years ago, when Dhruva Maharaj took to it. But at the present moment, the mind has to be fixed directly on the lotus feet of the Lord by the chanting process. By chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, one immediately concentrates on the sound vibration and thinks of the lotus feet of the Lord, and very quickly one is elevated to the position of samadhi or trance. If one goes on chanting the holy names of the Lord, which are not different from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, naturally his mind becomes absorbed in the thought of the Lord. It is here recommended that Dhruva Maharaj, that he meditate on the Supreme Guru or spiritual master. The Supreme Spiritual Master is Krishna, who is therefore known as Chaitya Guru. This refers to the Super Soul, who is sitting in everyone's heart. He helps from within, as stated in Bhagavad Gita, and he sends the Spiritual Master who helps from without. The Spiritual Master is the external manifestation of the Chaitya Guru, or the Spiritual Master sitting in everyone's heart. The process by which we give up our thoughts of material things is called pratyahara, which entails being freed from all material thoughts and engagements. The word abhidhyayat, which is used in this verse, indicates that unless one's mind is fixed, one cannot meditate. The conclusion, therefore, is that meditation means thinking of the Lord within. Whether one comes to that stage by the Astanga Yoga system or by the method recommended in the Shastra, especially for this present age, to constantly chant the holy name of the Lord, the goal is to meditate on the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurul Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manubhishtam Shtapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sahagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurange Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Satadevi Pranamami Hari Priye Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Sunyavari Paschatha Dashatharine Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnaveyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 8, Text 44, Translation. After sitting on your seat, practice the 3 kinds of breathing exercises and thus gradually control the life air, the mind and the senses. Completely free yourself from all material contamination and with great patience begin to meditate on the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Srila Prabhupada writes, in this verse the entire yoga system is described in summary. And Prabhupada says, and special stress is given to the breathing exercises for stopping the disturbing mind. So here we continue with hearing the pastime of Dhruva Maharaj, who is now taking instructions and he is practicing the yoga system, and which we know was possible in previous ages. And in Kali Yuga it's very difficult because our mind, as Prabhupada is saying, is always disturbed. The mind by nature is always oscillating, or it is very fickle, but the breathing exercise is meant to control it. So 2 things we know, or we can we have another way to control the mind is by the breathing exercise, but that is not recommended in this age. What's recommended is the chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra. So we'll read a little more about how chanting of Hare Krishna can help control the mind, which is much more easier in this age than following this process that we are hearing of, that Dhruva Maharaj is undergoing. So in the book Path of Perfection, Srila Prabhupada gives another meaning of the word yoga. Normally we hear the term yoga means to link with Krishna or to connect with Krishna. Here Prabhupada says yoga means training the mind and the senses to be fixed on the self. Training the mind and senses. And here and also in most of Prabhupada's books we come across this word self. It has 2 meanings. And when we read, we'll see a self, when it is with the capital S, it refers to the super soul or Krishna. And when it is with a small S, it refers to the Atma, that's us. So when we're reading about the self, we have to be cautious or be attentive when this word self is with the capital S, it's referring to the Paramatma, or the localized aspect of Krishna. It refers to Krishna. And when it's self, they're spelled with the small letter, small caps, then it refers to us, the Atma. So here Prabhupada says, yoga means training the mind and senses to be fixed on the self. He goes on to say, this is not possible by meditating only for 15 minutes a day. Shri Shri Radha Radhanath ki jai, Giriraj Govardhan ki jai, Gaur Hari ki jai, Tulsi Maharani ki jai, Guru Parampara ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Yoga means training the mind and senses to be fixed on the self. This is not possible by meditating only 15 minutes a day and then going out and doing whatever the senses dictate. This is a common practice now in the name of yoga. How can the problems of life be solved so cheaply? If we want something precious, we have to pay for it. By the grace of Lord Chaitanya, this payment has been made very easy. Just chant Hare Krishna. By your chanting, this system of control, this yoga system, becomes perfected. Thus, Lord Chaitanya has blessed us. Simply by chanting Hare Krishna, we will achieve the perfection of self-realization. In this age of Kali, when people are so fallen, other processes will not be successful. This is the only process, and it is easy, sublime, effective, and practical. By it, one can realize oneself. So, training the mind and senses to be fixed on the self. We go in Bhagavad Gita 6:34. Krishna say, Arjuna, after being told by Krishna this, how to practice this yoga system, Arjuna says that it is very difficult. O Madhusudana, the system of yoga which you have summarized appears impractical and unendurable for me, for the mind is restless and unsteady. So Krishna further explains, Arjuna says, at least Arjuna says, the mind is restless, turbulent, obstinate, and very strong, O Krishna, and to subdue it, I think it more difficult than controlling the wind. So here we get a full description of our mind. It is restless, turbulent, obstinate, and very strong. It's very clear how our mind works. And so further down in text 35 of Bhagavad Gita, chapter 6, Lord Krishna replies to Arjuna's doubts or his findings about the yoga system and the mind. Lord Krishna said, O mighty armed son of Kunti, it is undoubtedly very difficult to curb the restless mind. But it is possible by practice and detachment. So we heard how the mind is. It is turbulent, it is restless, it's obstinate and very strong. And Lord Krishna gives the remedy. But it is possible by suitable practice and detachment to control the mind, to bring the mind under control. And in this purport from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 6, text 35, Srila Prabhupada writes, the difficulty of controlling the obstinate mind is expressed by Arjuna, is accepted by the personality of Godhead. But at the same time, he suggests that by practice and detachment, it is possible. And Prabhupada writes, what is that practice? Very nice. In this present age, no one can observe the strict rules and regulations of placing oneself in a sacred place, focusing the mind on the supersoul, restraining the senses and mind, observing celibacy, remaining alone, etc. Prabhupada writes, by the practice of Krishna consciousness, however, one engages in 9 types of devotional service to the Lord. The first and foremost of such devotional engagements is hearing about Lord Krishna. This is a very powerful transcendental method for purging the mind of all misgivings. Purging means clearing. Very nice, Prabhupada says, purging the mind of all misgivings, or simply getting rid, clearing the mind of all misgivings. The more one hears about Krishna, the more one becomes enlightened and detached from everything that draws the mind away from Krishna. By detaching the mind from the activities not devoted to Lord Krishna, one can very easily learn Vairagya. Vairagya means detachment from matter and engagement in the spirit. It's very clear how Prabhupada explains what practice and detachment is. And we should try and follow that. And the first step is always the most important step, and that is to hear about Lord Krishna. And a very nice example that's given is that of Ambarish Maharaj. In Srimad Bhagavatam, in the 9th canto, 4th chapter, we hear of the pastime of Ambarish Maharaj. He was a son of King Nabhaga, and it goes on. Manu had a son, Nabhaga, and Nabhaga had a son, also similar to the name Nabhaga. And at one point, because Nabhaga, he went to live in the Gurukul, or the school of his spiritual teacher. His brothers thought that he would not come back. Therefore, they divided the property of their father among themselves. So eventually, Nabhaga came back from the Gurukul, and when he asked his brothers for his share, they told him that, no, your share is actually your father. And so Nabhaga went to his father and said that my brothers are telling me that my share of the property is you, and they've taken physically the kingdom for themselves. So his father said, no, this is actually cheating, and you should actually now, to get your riches and to maintain yourself, you should go to Angira and his sons who are performing a great sacrifice, and you go and explain 2 verses to them, and then you will receive dakshin, and that will be the wealth for you. So Nabhaga went to this sacrifice ceremony by the great sages, and he performed and he explained the verses according to how his father told him. And finally, at the end, they were very pleased, the great saintly persons, Angira and his sons, and the assembled devotees, they were very pleased with the explanations of Nabhaga. And they gave him all the wealth, all the dakshin of this ceremony. And everyone was pleased with him. But Lord Shiva, who also received some of the offerings, he wanted to test Nabhaga. And he sent one man to claim that all the riches from this sacrifice was his. So again, Nabhaga he was confused because he received everything, and he performed the sacrifices and he took part in the ceremony. But who was this person that all of a sudden appeared and now he's claiming all the riches? So again, he went to his father, and then eventually Lord Shiva got his attention, and Lord Shiva was very pleased with him, and Lord Shiva said, actually, all the riches belongs to you. So this is how Nabhaga was able to get the entire kingdom again, through all the riches that he received. And this Nabhaga had a son called Ambarish. And Ambarish was a very exalted devotee. Although he had everything, he had all the riches of his father, he was a devotee and he was fully detached from all the wealth that was in the kingdom, his wife, his family. He was fully detached. And he was very spiritual, and he would observe all the ceremonies. Once Ambarish was observing Ekadashi. And like on a day-to-day Dwadashi, the day after Ekadashi, he was looking at the time to break his fast. The day after Ekadashi is Dwadashi. So we all know that there's between a certain time we must complete the fast by taking grain. So he was observing a full fast. And during this day, a Dhruvasha Muni appeared and he came to visit. So Ambarish Prabhu very kindly received him and offered him to take lunch. And so Dhruvasha Muni said, okay, I'll take lunch, but first at noon time, I'll have to take my bath and then come and take lunch. But during this time, Dhruvasha Muni, being a great mystic yogi, went into samadhi in the water, and he forgot about the time to come back. And Ambarish Maharaj, he was in anxiety because he knew he had to complete the fast at a certain time, and time was running out. So Ambarish Maharaj took the advice of the Brahmanas by drinking a little water to break his fast or complete his fast. So when he did this, Dhruvasha Muni, being a great mystic, he could understand what Ambarish Maharaj did. So when he came back, he chastised Ambarish Maharaj, and why did you do this? I'm your guest. I'm meant to eat first. And I see you've already broken your fast and things like that. So he got Dhruvasha Muni severely chastised Ambarish Maharaj. And because of his anger, Dhruvasha Maharaj, he created a demon, a fiery demon, to kill Ambarish Maharaj. So in this way, when Lord Vishnu saw that his devotee, Ambarish Maharaj, was in danger, he sent his Sudarshan Chakra to kill this fiery demon. And after that, he began to, the Sudarshan Chakra began to chase Dhruvasha Muni, and he fled in all directions. He went to Brahma Loka, he went to Shiva Loka, all the heavenly planets, the higher planets. No one could give him shelter. So ultimately, he went to Lord Vishnu. So Lord Vishnu said, even I cannot help you because you have offended a devotee. I cannot help you. So then Lord Vishnu tells Dhruvasha Muni, the only person that can give you shelter is the person that you offended, the devotee. You'll have to go back and beg for forgiveness from the devotee. So in this way, Dhruvasa, he came back and he begged Maharaj Ambarish for his mercy, and and he explained that he made some big mistakes and things like that. So also we can see Ambarish Prabhu was such a great devotee that first Lord Vishnu protected him, and it's a very nice instruction also, this pastime, that when we offend devotees, we can understand that even Krishna will not forgive us. We'll have to go directly to that devotee. Take the humble position, bow down, offer your obeisances, and beg for forgiveness. We see from this pastime that even Lord Krishna, Lord Vishnu says, no, I cannot help you. You'll have to go back to the person that you offended. So this is the greatness of Ambarish Prabhu. And we are now reading this section, how to control the mind. And his example is given of how to control the mind, Ambarish Prabhu. So we'll read from the Bhagavatam, it's mentioned, Ambarish Prabhu. Maharaj Ambarish always, this is how we can take lessons to control the mind, from the example of Ambarish Prabhu. Maharaj Ambarish always engaged his mind in meditating upon the lotus feet of Krishna. His words in describing the glories of the Lord, his hands in cleansing the Lord's temple, and his ears in hearing the words spoken by Krishna or about Krishna. He engaged his eyes in seeing the deity of Krishna, Krishna's temples and Krishna's places like Mathura and Vrindavan. He engaged his sense of touch in touching the bodies of the Lord's devotees. He engaged his sense of smell in smelling the fragrance of tulasi offered to the Lord. And he engaged his tongue in tasting the Lord's prasad. He engaged his legs in walking to the holy places and temples of the Lord. His head in bowing down before the Lord. And all his desires in serving the Lord 24 hours a day. Indeed, Maharaj Ambarish never desired anything for his own sense gratification. He engaged all his senses in devotional service, in various engagements related to the Lord, in this way to increase the attachment for the Lord and be completely freed from all material desires. In the purport, Prabhupada writes, therefore, according to the instructions of Srila Rupa Goswami, the first business of a devotee is to accept a bona fide spiritual master who can train him to engage his various senses in rendering transcendental loving service to the Lord. And this is also we read in the purport Prabhupada is mentioning. It is here recommended to Dhruva Maharaj that he meditate on the Supreme Guru or the Supreme Spiritual Master. The Supreme Spiritual Master is Krishna, who is therefore known as Chaitya Guru. This refers to the Super Soul, who is sitting in everyone's heart. He helps from within, as stated in Bhagavad Gita, and he sends the Spiritual Master, who helps from without. The Spiritual Master is the external manifestation of the Chaitya Guru, or the Spiritual Master sitting in everyone's heart. The process by which we give up our thoughts of material things is called pratyahara, which entails being freed from all material thoughts and engagements. The word abhidhyayat, which is used in this verse, indicates that unless one's mind is fixed, one cannot meditate. The conclusion, therefore, is that meditation means thinking of the Lord within. Whether one comes to that stage by Ashtanga Yoga, the Ashtanga Yoga system, or by the method recommended by the Sastras, especially for this present age, to constantly chant the holy name of the Lord, the goal is to meditate on the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So here it's mentioned the method recommended in the Shastras, especially for this age, which is Kali Yuga. It's a very degraded age. So in the Srimad Bhagavatam, there's a nice verse that explains a little more. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 12, Chapter 3, verse 51. Kali dosha nide rajan asti hi eko mahan guna. Kirtanat eva krishnasya mukta sangha param vrajet. Translation. My dear king, although Kali Yuga is an ocean of faults, there is still one good quality about this age. Simply by chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, one can become freed from material bondage and be promoted to the transcendental kingdom. So this is our goal, and we are fortunate that there is this one good quality which is actually freely being given to us by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada is also giving us the method to control the mind. First, we have this gross body. Then above the gross body are the senses. Above the senses is the mind. And above the mind is intelligence. And above intelligence is who we are, the spirit soul. So it is the mind, the function of the intelligence is to control the mind. But from our experience, we see how strong the mind is and what the qualities are that we read of. The mind is so strong. We can become so easily, we can become bewildered. But we have to make our intelligence strong. And our intelligence is actually coming from the books of Srila Prabhupada. Therefore, we have to always read Prabhupada's books. We have to constantly hear from Prabhupada. So this is the food for the intelligence. So in this way, when our intelligence becomes stronger and stronger, then it'll be easier to control the mind. Otherwise, the mind is very strong. So by the mercy of Prabhupada, He has given us this knowledge which helps the intelligence to control the mind. So here Prabhupada is saying, in this verse, the yoga system is described in summary, and special stress is given to the breathing exercises for controlling the disturbing mind. So it's very difficult, and Prabhupada warns us, we've read that we cannot perform this yoga for 15 minutes a day and then go out and do all nonsense. And the easiest method, again, is given by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Simply by chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, one is able to control the mind, and the example, very nice example, is that of Ambarish Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Stop there and take your comments and questions. You can add on to the class.
Thank you for that class. I was just thinking about the issue of the mind, and we see that Dhruva is advised to practice controlling that mind with Astanga Yoga. And Astanga Yoga is quite deep and quite involved, and it actually helps one to the degree where one will be able to see the Lord. And this is what we see Dhruva Maharaj did. But like you say, in this age, now that we're living in Kali Yuga, the only recommended way is by chanting the holy name. But by chanting the holy name, it seems like it's so easy and so simple, and one can therefore just chant the holy name in any way they want to. But there are different levels of chanting the holy name as well. And we see that the intelligence, you spoke about the intelligence, the mind and the senses. The intelligence is in the mode of passion. The mind is in the mode of goodness, and the senses are in the mode of ignorance. So then, when we look at, if we have to sit and chant, we're just supposed to focus on Shravanam Kirtanam. And if we have to do anything else while chanting, then that mind is affected by the intelligence and by the senses. So it's not in the mode of goodness anymore. So it is very important for us as devotees, therefore, to sit and chant, and Srila Prabhupada in the end of the purport says we should do this meditatively. Meditative means to apply only the mind in the chanting. And Burijan Prabhu in the book called Japa says that we should try to train that mind, because the mind wants to run away, influenced by the intelligence, influenced by the senses. It wants to run away. So we train the mind by saying, just focus on one mantra. And one mantra is very easy. So we chant the one mantra, we focus on that one mantra, and then after that we chant the next mantra. Okay, now focus on this one mantra. We don't focus on, okay, I've got to chant 16 rounds now. And it becomes too much for the mind. But when we focus on one mantra at a time, then we can chant that meditatively. And this is very important for us as devotees. We think that the process is very simple. It's not very simple. We have to actually take our chanting to higher and higher levels. And higher levels means taking the chanting onto the level of transcendence, not keeping it in the mode of ignorance or passion or just goodness. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, thank you for that. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.